morning, everybody. Let's start off with our story time song. You ready? We need 3 signs. More, read, and happy. The more we read together, 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 the more we read together, how happy we'll be. Big books and small books and short books and tall books, the more we read together, how happy we'll be. Good job, everybody. So it's raining outside today, so I'm still outside, but I'm under some cover here, so it's a little dark. You might not be able to see me very well. And I also have a special friend with me. This is one of my cats, and her name is Midnight. And she is a cuddler. She's a very snuggly, lovable cat. Cats are special animals. They're good friends to us, they're good pets, and they give us lots of affection. I also have a kitten inside, and maybe I'll show you some video of her in a little bit. But today we're going to talk about cats for our story time. We've got lots of great stories, so let's get started.
Charlie by Diane Fox Downs. Illustrated by Lillian Obligado. In an alley of a big city, there lived a cat called Charlie. Charlie's alley was untidy. There were sticks and rags and empty pots and crocks and broken toys. There was so little to eat that Charlie was as thin as the sticks. He was as raggedy as the rags. One day Charlie saw a large yellow tomcat stepping out of a garbage can. "There's nothing but a beetle in there," sighed the yellow cat. "When I was a young cat like you, I lived in the country. I climbed trees and I drank milk. Sometimes I ate vanilla ice cream. And after supper, I played tiger in the grass. Ah, those were the days." The yellow tomcat sighed again and went on his way. Charlie thought about vanilla ice cream and milk. He thought about trees, and he thought, who could play tiger in the grass here, in one tuft of grass? I think I will move to the country. Since he had nothing to pack, he put up his tail and started off immediately. After he had been pad-padding along for a while, Charlie heard fire engines coming down the street. He stood near a small old lady and watched them go by. And the small old lady stepped on Charlie's tail. "Ee!" screeched Charlie. "Ee!" cried the old lady. "What an awful scruffy cat!" She shook her umbrella at him. Charlie was so frightened that he ran and ran until he could run no more. Then he sat down. Beside him was a white wall, and hanging over the top of the wall was the green branch of a tree. Is the country on the other side of that wall? Charlie wondered. He had just enough strength to jump to the top to find out. Charlie looked down. He saw trees and grass and flowers. He saw a little pool with moss and ferns around it, and a fountain in the middle of it. Beyond the pool were houses with window boxes. Charlie had never seen such a beautiful place. "I could play tiger in there," he said to himself. "Tiger in the tall, cool grass." He jumped down and went to the pool. As he took a sip of water, Charlie saw a golden fish. "Is this the country?" he asked the fish. "No, silly, this is a courtyard," said the fish, and she disappeared under a lily pad. Cats, even small ones, made her nervous. There was a rustling in the trees. A bird sat on a low branch. "What is a courtyard?" Charlie asked the bird. "It is a private garden. No strangers are allowed to live here," squawked the bird, and he flew away. He didn't like cats. Just then a girl came out of one of the houses. Her name was Liza. Liza saw Charlie. "Oh, you poor cat," she said. "You look very hungry." She brought him a bowl of milk. Mrs. Twilliger came by. She was on her way to a tea party. She was wearing her newest hat. Mrs. Twilliger loved hats, and this one was her favorite hat of all. Suddenly the wind blew through the courtyard. It blew so hard that it carried Mrs. Twilliger's hat up, up, up into a tree. "Oh, oh, my hat!" cried Mrs. Twilliger. Children came out of the houses to see what was the matter. There were Billy and Peggy and Peter and Anne and Priscilla. They all looked up at Mrs. Twilliger's hat. Liza's father came out. He tried to get the hat down. He threw Billy's boomerang at it, but the boomerang flew past the branch and came back again. Charlie's tail twitched. He knew just what to do. He leapt up the tree. He crept along the branch. He was so small and so light that the branch didn't break. It hardly even bent. When he reached Mrs. Twilliger's hat, he hit at it with his paw, and it went sailing to the ground. "What a wonderful cat!" cried the children, and each one said, "Let me have him! He's mine! He's mine!" "You can't all take the cat," Liza's father said. "I will build a house for him and put it under this tree. He will belong to all of us." "I will make the roof," said Billy. "I will make a soft pillow for a bed," said Priscilla. "I will make the door," said Peter. "We will paint the house," said Anne and Peggy. "And I will feed our cat every day," said Liza. Mrs. Twilliger smiled and smiled. So did Charlie. So Liza's father and the children made a house for Charlie. They put the house under a tree. Charlie went into his house, and then he came out again. He was very happy because his house was just the right size, and trees and flowers and fireflies were painted on it. Charlie was so excited that he ran round and round his house. Then suddenly he stopped. He crouched down. He put out a paw, and he crept. Quietly, quietly he crept along. And the children said, "Hush," for Charlie was playing tiger. Tiger in the grass. The end. Stack the Cats by Susie Garamani, printed in New York. 1 cat sleeps. 2 cats play. 3 cats stack. 4 cats teeter. 5 cats totter. 6 cats prefer 2 stacks of 3 cats. 7 cats nap. 8 cats try, but 8 cats tumble. 9 cats agree to 3, 3, and 3. 10 cats are just too many. So 1 cat sleeps. 2 cats climb up and away. 2 cats hide, and 2 cats seek, and 3 cats stack. How will you stack the cats? The end. Stack the Cats was such a fun story. But did you know that sometimes cats really like to stack? One cold rainy day, I went outside and saw my cats all stacked up. How many cats do you think are in this stack? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 cats all stacked up. And 1 cat who's sleeping in a cardboard box all by herself. I wonder what she's dreaming about. Mog, the Forgetful Cat. Written and illustrated by Judith Kerr. For our own Mog. Once there was a cat called Mog, and she lived with a family called Thomas. Mog was nice, but not very clever. She didn't understand a lot of things, and a lot of other things she forgot. She was a very forgetful cat. Sometimes she ate her supper, then she forgot she'd eaten it. Sometimes she thought of something in the middle of washing her leg, then she forgot to wash the rest. Once she forgot that cats can't fly. But most of all she forgot her cat flap. The flap led from the kitchen into the garden. Mog could go out and in again. It was her own little door. The garden always made Mog very excited. She smelled the smells, she chased the birds, she climbed the trees, she ran round and round with a big fluffed-up tail, and then she forgot the cat flap. She forgot that she had a cat flap. She wanted to go back in the house, but she couldn't remember how. In the end, she sat outside the kitchen window and meowed until someone let her in. Afterwards, you could always tell where she had sat. This made Mr. Thomas very sad. He said, "Drat that cat." But Debbie said, "She's nice." Once Mog had a very bad day. Even the start of the day was bad. Mog was still asleep. Then Nicky picked her up. He hugged her and said, "Nice kitty." Mog said nothing, but she was not very happy. Then it was breakfast time. Mog forgot that cats have milk for breakfast. She forgot that cats only have eggs as treats. She ate an egg for breakfast. Mrs. Thomas said, "Drat that cat." Debbie said, "Nicky doesn't like eggs anyway." Mog looked through her cat flap. It was raining in the garden. Mog thought, perhaps the sun is shining in the street. When the milkman came, she ran out. The milkman shut the door. The sun was not shining in the street after all. It was raining. A big dog came down the street. Mog ran. The big dog ran too. Mog ran right round the house, and the dog ran after her. She climbed over the fence. She ran through the garden and jumped up outside the kitchen window. She meowed a big meow, very sudden and very loud. Mrs. Thomas said, "Oh, drat that cat." Debbie said, "It wasn't her fault." Mog was very sleepy. She found a nice, warm, soft place and went to sleep. She had a lovely dream. Mog dreamed that she had wings. She could fly everywhere. She could fly faster than the birds, even quite big birds. Suddenly, she woke up. Mrs. Thomas said, "Drat that cat." Debbie said, "You look nicer without a hat." Debbie gave Mog her supper, and Mog ate it all up. Then Debbie and Nicky went to bed. Mog had a rest too, but Mr. Thomas wanted to see the fight on TV. Mr. Thomas said, "Drat that cat." Mog thought, "Nobody likes me." Then she thought, "Debbie likes me." Debbie's door was open. Debbie's bed was warm. Debbie's hair was soft like kitten fur. And Mog forgot that Debbie was not a kitten. Debbie had a dream. It was a bad dream. It was a dream about a tiger. The tiger wanted to eat Debbie, and it was licking her hair. Debbie shouted. Mog jumped. Mr. and Mrs. Thomas said, "Drat, drat, drat that cat." Debbie said nothing. She was still crying because of her bad dream. Mog ran out of the room and right through the house and out of her cat flap. She was very sad. The garden was dark. The house was dark too. Mog sat in the dark and thought dark thoughts. She thought, nobody likes me. They've all gone to bed. There's no one to let me in, and they haven't even given me my supper. Then she noticed something. The house was not quite dark. There was a little light moving about. She looked through the window and saw a man in the kitchen. Mog thought, perhaps that man will let me in. Perhaps he will give me my supper. She meowed her biggest meow, very sudden and very, very loud. The man was surprised. He dropped his bag. It made a big noise, and everyone in the house woke up. Mr. Thomas ran down to the kitchen and shouted, "A burglar!" The burglar said, "Drat that cat!" Mrs. Thomas telephoned the police. Debbie let Mog in, and Nicky hugged her. A policeman came, and they told him what had happened. The policeman looked at Mog. He said, "What a remarkable cat. I've seen watchdogs, but never a watch cat. She will get a medal." Debbie said, "I think she'd rather have an egg." Mog had a medal. To Mog for bravery. She also had an egg every day for breakfast. Mr. and Mrs. Thomas told all their friends about her. They said, "Mog is really remarkable." And they never, or almost never, said, "Drat that cat." The end. They're getting really big. Now look at all these feathers. All these feathers have grown in just a week. Cat Wishes. Words by Callista Brill. Pictures by Kennard Pack. Once in the windy wood there was a hungry cat. "A mouse, a mole, a bat," Cat said. "I wish I had something to eat." Crouch, coil, pounce! Cat caught a wiggly snake. "Spare my life," the snake told Cat. "I'll grant you what you wish." "No such thing as a wish," Cat said. His whiskers danced. "Sure of that, are you?" said Snake. Cat flicked his ears. "Well, maybe I'm not so hungry after all." He lifted his paw. "3 wishes for you," said Snake. He wiggled off through the grass. "No such thing as a wish," Cat said. His belly growled. "If there were, I'd wish for a fish." Pad, pad, pad. Cat walked on whisper feet. Pad, pad, splash. Cat stared with wide eyes. Splash. "No such thing as a wish," said Cat. Burp. Cat circled and circled and circled once more. It was time to nap in the sun. But the breezy air turned cold and damp, and rain began to fall. "No such thing as a wish," Cat said. His tail lashed. "But if there were, I'd wish for a house." Plop, plop, plop. The rain spotted Cat's fur. Plop, plop, plop. Cat's nose tickled and twitched. Cat smelled a roasty, toasty fireplace. Cat saw a winking light. Cat walked into his very own house and curled up on a cushion. "No such thing as a wish," Cat said. Cat woke up in the night, surrounded by shadows. "No such thing as a wish," Cat said. "But if there were, I'd wish for a friend." Shuff, 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 came a footstep. Cat's tail bristled. Hello. A very small girl stood at the door. A wiggly snake in the windy woods granted me 3 wishes, the small girl said. First I was hungry. Cat saw her picnic basket. And then it was raining. Cat saw her red raincoat. And then I was lonely. Cat climbed into her arms. The end. My Bus by Byron Barton. I am Joe. This is my car. This is my bus. I drive my bus to town. At my first stop, 1 dog gets on my bus. At my second stop, 2 cats get on my bus. At my third stop, 3 cats get on my bus. At my last stop, 4 dogs get on my bus. 5 dogs and 5 cats are on my bus. I drive 1 dog and 2 cats to the boat. They sail away. I drive 2 dogs and 1 cat to the train. They ride away. I drive 1 dog and 2 cats to the plane. They fly away. Cats and dogs sail, ride, and fly away. I park my bus. I get off. 1 dog gets off. I drive 1 dog home. My dog, Bow Wow. Meow. The end.
Well guys, we've had a lot of fun today. We've read some really great stories and we've learned some things about cats. And I hope you've had a good time because I've had a great time reading too. So now let's do our goodbye song. Remember, we need 3 signs. Time, bye, and friends. It is time to say goodbye to all our friends. It is time to say goodbye to all our friends. It is time to say goodbye. Clap your hands, wink your eyes. It's time to say goodbye to all our friends. Bye guys, see you next week.